We're nice and civilized on this one. It's just sitting here, drinking tea and or coffee, waiting.
That'll change over time, and you know it.
Well, we're nothing crazy is going on as well. It's just like, nice little town time, nice and chill.
This is a big old maintenance session right now.
Well, I mean, I like that. I mean, my Monday game just was the entire session was those downtime things. Like, it was an entire month in like a session. It was great. So, what else does anyone want to do in town? I know, Barut, your plan was basically drink, and if it now is drinking, then that is absolutely fine.
I would pick up that second boomerang I talked about on the break. Just go grab one of those.
That's entirely reasonable to buy here.
Sweet.
That seems like a good
that's about it.
Now seems a good time to drink. All right, so here's an important question about the drinking.
Yep.
Do you go to a tavern by the sea, like the one you started at? A tavern in town, probably busier, or the tavern on the outskirts where you met Corpse Flower?
We're happy to go wherever if anyone has a preference.
Becoming our place. Really,
Yeah, I think we're
going
gonna
to
go to
the
that.
outskirts, and I kind of like having a place.
Yeah, it's like our cheers.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you have
I like
to go.
that.
Where...
I can't remember what this tavern was called though, but it had a name.
I don't either, but it's our place.
No, someone's gonna have to go back in the VODs and tell me what it is, unless I have it in Corpse Flowers' description. I don't. So, when you do you all go along to the drinking?
Oh yeah.
Because you are going to see a tiefling, and you have a paladin. Now.
Oh.
Fair,
She hasn't.
Just a
met him yet.
point. Just a point.
fair point.
Well,
I mean,
I'm
Varric
going to see this
Varric
way.
would have no idea this is a thing. So
Yeah, Toby's probably pretty oblivious to that as well, if I'm being honest.
He's just like, hey, let's go to the bar. Let's go to the
Like,
pub.
even probably talking about this guy to Eleanor. Like,
No, he's
oh,
a nice guy. Yeah.
There's a guy there named Corseflower, like, not mentioning he's a tiefling. Just feel like he's great. He helped
probably
us
just
fight some goblins this one time.
Forgot. So
I
that-
will
He shot
say,
fire from
if
his
that
hands
conversation-
once.
Yeah, no. If that conversation comes up, Varric would actually say it's really cool. He's got like horns and stuff.
This is why you're
If
walking.
that, yeah.
At that moment, bro, it's gonna be oh right, oh right. Yeah, he's a
Varric has
tiefling,
no idea what tieflings are, so he's just like, he has horns.
and he is a nice tiefling.
Oh,
is
well,
that
that's
right?
nice.
He's pretty cool for a demon. Or whatever.
Demon.
I don't seem particularly phased by that information.
Cool. Then let's go drinking.
So when you get to the pub on the outskirts, it is more or less how it always is. It's a little quieter, but there's often a little bit of drink. There's always a little bit of drinking, but always a little bit of dancing and singing. Often games being played. It's a nice place to spend your nights. When you go in there and you go to your table, Corpse Flower, that's loud. Corpse Flower would come up to you after a bit, and probably would put his hands on either side of Tobias's shoulders, kind of sneaking up on him, but he wears heavy armor as well, so it's not very sneaking. Be like, it's good to see you, friends. Have you completed any hunts recently?
We have, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Then you'll have to tell me all about it. Considering you're sitting at a table of 4, there's 4 of you, he has to grab a chair, and you sit and hang out and drink.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have any particular drinking shenanigans they want to do? I have to ask, because as a DM, that is a question you have to ask. It really is.
Last time I remember drinking shenanigans happen was on Friday, and I don't think I want Aaron to answer. So
Oh, this character is far more reasonable.
good, yeah.
For now.
I'm not gonna ruin the bar. Load
I
anyone.
might refill that bottle of wine. Just get another bottle of wine.
Get another bottle of wine, finish this
Yeah.
one. That's fine.
I'm gonna
This
sit up
is-
for 2.
We're trying to make this our place. Drinking shenanigans are a no-go right now until they know us better and we are...
That's true, until you're regulars. That's
Exactly.
true. Yeah, and you're not quite regulars yet.
Not quite yet, but we will be. And we know we will be. That's the full intention of being here right now.
No, I would make small talk with Corpse Lair. They just ask where he's
Yeah,
from.
exactly. I imagine there's a lot of like small talk going on. He'll explain Bastilian. He'll basically explain all the stuff he explained to Evan, that he's from Bastilian, but you know he's here and he defends this part of town, stuff like that. He's a lovely chap. And he'd even recommend playing some games of dice, which is one of those simple like we roll 2 dice and see who gets the highest, and whoever gets the lowest has to drink. And it's fun because there's alcohol involved.
Yeah.
Correct.
Can you give me insight rolls, please?
Ooh.
Maybe.
Oh, -1. Let's do this. Oh no, I did it again. Damn it.
You Eric to 20.
I did. Oh, and then I
We
got
almost
nothing.
did it again. That was real close to being another 20.
Wow. Okay, so everyone but Aelinor, which makes sense. You notice that, okay, yeah, this tavern's got that nice atmosphere, but it's not quite as jovial as it was the other times. And hell, you were here one time after killing a bunch of goblins that were, like, it's tormenting the town, and even then it was quite nice. You are looking around after, a couple of drinks. You've been here for maybe an hour or two. And you realize, you see a few people who you come to put together are perhaps mourning wives or lovers or something of the sort, who are, clearly here to drink away their worries, or they've been brought by a friend to like, no, you need a drink. And if it was just one, maybe you wouldn't even notice. But there's at least like 3 people who are clearly mourning. And that's when it's you and in like different groups. That's when you start to you notice it,
Has something been happening in the town?
Gonna ask. if
Corpse
anyone-
Flower he kind of shrugs.
Do you are you aware of what's happening with? And I'm gonna like motion with my head over to one of the groups of the mourners.
I heard something was happening more seaside, but we're quite far away from there.
I'm gonna turn to the group. Well, I mean, do we want to go and check it out? And as Brewitt takes another drink and like kind of a long draw, doesn't really seem like he wants to go.
No, I don't want to check it out. Puts mug down, stands up.
Yeah, and we put our gear on.
Yeah, let's do this.
Uh,
Big.
and I'm gonna turn to the bar.
I forgot you're drinking just from a bottle of wine.
And just say 2 more for this one over here, and I'm gonna just put down some money on the counter and pat Corpse Flower on the shoulder and say, keep an eye on this side of town while we're gone.
Gives you kind of like a salute.
Yeah.
Obviously mocking, but
Oh, yeah.
no one else in the tavern really gets who he's mocking. So,
Yeah.
Mocking someone.
exactly. And what you do? Are you heading down seaside, or are you going to talk to some of the peeps?
I was gonna go and suggest that we talk to the people first. As much as we're probably a few drinks in at this point.
You're a few
like
drinks in, but you're not drunk.
Yeah.
I'll stand a few feet away just because I might be an interesting sight for that. So
And I'm gonna actually suggest that Tobias does the talking.
yeah.
It's his town. He would know the people better.
Yeah. And like, as much as Tobias wants to argue, he's like, I mean,
Nope. You're right.
right, you're correct. Not really saying so many words. He's...
I will lay on
Yeah.
hands and make you totally sober for this.
Oh, God.
Oh no, it's worse.
What do you do? I just like, what did you do that for?
I mean, it just seems polite, right?
Well, now I'm sober and sad, so I guess now's the perfect time. And I go over to the most open-looking group. If
Yeah,
there
there's
is
one who has like a couple of friends with her instead of just like one. And literally one of the friends is like, "Look, I mean, he's a handsome lad. I mean, surely that," and it just causes the girl to start crying like another burst of tears. And she's like,
Oh man, I'm so not the face of this party. I'm just gonna go over to the table and just kind of awkwardly stand there for maybe a second too long before saying anything, and just be like, I don't suppose any of you feel like dancing.
Bruit's got his hands.
"Please
Cover
give
his
me a
face.
persuasion roll."
Oh,
It burns.
I'm so bad at that.
He's like, we
I
can't even
know.
look at this train
the
wreck that's
heck is
happening.
that?
We all just turn away.
No,
I'm gonna go up to one of the other groups.
literally, like the woman who's crying, is just like, "Leave me alone! Just go, you!" And like actually will like throw some cutlery at you, but it's made of wood, so it doesn't really that hurt.
I leave. And I'm like, yeah, something's definitely wrong. I mean, it's not that that goes well normally, but it usually doesn't go that badly.
I will approach and I will say that I'm so sorry for my friend. We are just genuinely trying to help. We're local adventurers.
That kind of takes them by like surprise, and one of them who's not the crying lady sort of sits up and's like, "So if
Is there anything we could do to help?
you think do you know why ships are going missing?"
We don't know why ships are going missing, but perhaps we can find out.
Yeah, her Frang was on a fishing boat that just didn't come back. Well, it came back, but in splinters, washed up on the shore.
Could you tell us where?
She just kind of like shrugs.
Where the boat departed from?
Oh, with the docks.
Thank you. Then I will kind of like lay a hand on her shoulder and give her a reassuring pat as I leave.
That went better.
That went better.
Yep.
somehow. It's almost like just talking to them and not asking them to dance. was the
Funny
right...
that.
Yeah,
So it sounds like we should go to the docks.
agreed.
Agreed.
I'm gonna pat Tobias on the shoulder and just say, maybe next time, buddy, maybe next time.
Also, if it's this series,
It
we
was a
might
good
wanna
try.
check. Yep. If it's this serious, we might want to check with Kazmgard that there's already a contract on this.
That's a fair point. Well, why don't we stop in there first?
You'll be on the way back.
Yeah.
When you do, you probably ask, Kinley, be the first person you see. And she'll be like, "I did not know ships were going missing. There's not been a contract in about that."
I think we should go and take a look at it, and perhaps we can either procure a contract or maybe just help out, depending on what the circumstance is. Who knows? Maybe it's just that the sailors are hitting rocks that came in that need to be moved. Who knows?
Oftentimes when something like this goes wrong, concerned individuals will do a contract post job.
Well, then let's hope for that.
And you head down to the docks. By the time you get there, it's actually dark. It's night, which is good for the drow. And the docks are lit with enough torches and, in some places, lanterns, but it's definitely not the kind of place that would have, like standing lanterns and things. Mostly just, torches on the side of buildings or buildings that are kind of glowing with light from their windows. The docks, as I described in week 1, it's this interesting area where it's not ice outside, it is the sea, but ice starts to build on the edge of the wooden struts and things, and there are wooden docking pathways that sort of stretch off into the sea where there's mostly small fishing boats. And now it's night, most of them are just resting there, waiting. But there is something that is immediately noticeable, even at night. There is one ship far larger than all the fishing boats that is not like any of the others. That is sitting at one of the bigger docking areas. Other than that, this is a kind of place where there are people resting, just either on the wooden docking platforms, or there's small little huts and buildings and shacks on the wood over the water and stuff as well.
What does the ship look like?
You can this isn't really something that's worth a check. It is clearly a big, because Brute has seen boats, right? It's the only person who has really seen boats properly. This is clearly, it appears to be a kind of, actually, you give me a history check. That's what I need you to do. But the ship itself is bigger, where it seems to be probably a small cargo vessel of some sort. Sail operated, the sails are tied up, it is clearly docked. It maybe has been docked for quite some time. You can see people moving on it. It's got windows in the side of the hull that are glowing with a little bit of candlelight. You don't immediately recognize the construction of the ship. It's not elven. It's not halfling. Those are the first two that you think of. And it's definitely not from here. You can give me a religion check, actually, Barut.
Hope this goes better. Yeah, no clue.
No clue.
Okay.
And there actually is someone, how there's sort of like a plank to the boat. There's someone sort of sitting by it, waiting. But it's dark, so you'd have to actually go up and probably approach them. And they actually don't have a torch or anything with them. So you can just see that there's someone sort of waiting there at the docks by their boat. You don't see people walking and talking on top of the boat, but you see enough shadows moving in the windows because it's dark, you can see the light. But there's definitely people on the boat.
Say we go talk to the strange person standing beside the strange boat.
Yep, good. I'll approach him.
Wait, this is a boat? I thought it was like a building. It's huge.
This is it's a ship, not a boat. I'm sorry, that's terrible terminology confusion for me. It is a ship.
And it floats?
Yes.
Looks at the small boats. Looks at the big one.
It's and Brute can even tell this is a fairly small boat ship. When you approach because of just how you could see it becomes clear that this is a human, though very much not a Northman. When you approach, it is clear it is a human, but not a Northman. They're wearing very much smarter clothing that looks just silly to your Northman sensibilities. They have a crossbow sort of resting beside the stool they're sitting on. And they kind of look up at Aelmore and don't even stand up and just do you have any business?
We heard that ships are going missing in this area, and we came to investigate.
And of course you thought the foreigners are doing it, as your kind often do.
No, I thought that you guys were the only ones out here, and I'd speak to you first.
I suppose you can speak to our captain.
Thank you.
And he'll stand up and he'll take the crossbow with him, but it's not like he's aiming, he's just kind of carrying it, and he'll walk on the plaque onto the boat, which, being a big ship, it's a little weird for most of you to be on it, because it's docked, but it's still moving with the water. And he'll knock. It's actually before he even gets to the captain's quarters, which are, at the back of the ship. They open, and the captain walks out. There's enough sort of glow from the captain's quarters that you can see him quite clearly, and you can see the rest of the top of the ship fairly clearly. He is, again, a human. You can all give me history checks to try and work out where they're from, if you want.
I'm not even gonna.
No, Virik can. Soz.
Tobias.
To Barut, it's not so much the kind of thing. You know there are other types of humans, but honestly, it's kind of hard to keep track of sometimes. But it's
threw me off. I just have no idea where that's from.
Aelnor, it's kind of the clothing that really sets it off to you, plus the size of the ship. They are most likely from Velheim. They most likely are Ravenlord. But you just know that they're not welcome here, and they're foreign. But they often do stop off because they are a culture of sailors. But Tobias knows more about why they would stop by. First of all, this is a great place to stop by just to restock, just in general. Secondly, your culture doesn't care about sort of like docking taxes or anything like that. You just pay your money and you stay and then you leave. Like it's very simple to dock here. But you know the reason why your people mostly distrust these people. First of all, the Raven Lords of Velheim, their sensibilities are very different, even though they're in Velheim, which is also in the north. You'd think you'd be very similar, but they are a very sort of neat and smart people who have this extreme naval practice, and they also have industry and things like that. They've been at civil war for an awful long time, but that's ended. So now they just sort of do what they do, and this is probably a trading vessel. But the reason why your people don't trust them is because there is a belief in your people that anyone who sails too far into the sea is either to be eaten or to be cursed by Ing, a great kraken who kills people and keeps their spirits for use in later time. These people coming in from far away, they are cursed by Ing. That's why they would not be trusted by your people. You, with that 20, you understand, but both that's why, but you're probably not entirely blinded by that. That's entirely your choice. But you know that's sort of...
As we approach this ship, like when we get to the thing, like Tobias is not going to step on the boat. As we're walking up, if he thinks these people might be cursed.
Sorry, I just realized that my map command's broken.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Tobias, are you not coming with us?
He'll just kind of hesitantly look and be like, nothing good can come from stepping on a ship from the east.
Ruit's gonna kind of give you a bit of a look, very questioning and a little bit concerned. He's very much from the east. And he doesn't know where these people are from, so he's like, wait, are they from like further east than me? Very confusing. But just
Virik is like not used to the north, south, east, west yet, so he's like, hang on, I thought that the this ocean is to the west. How can they? But east is inland. What? He just doesn't understand.
It's all right. Well, if you'd like to stay here, I don't see us stopping you. Maybe keep your eye out and see if you can see anything else.
Mm-hmm. Will it put your mind at ease if I search for spirits?
It might help, although I don't know if even you are capable of breaking the curse on these dogs.
So I will just like divine sense like really quick. Mostly out of my own paranoia at this point.
I'm gonna say, as she turns around, Virik has got dancing lights in front of his eyes.
Is this before you step on the boat, or like as you're stepping on the boat?
As I step on the boat.
I
imagine like we're already stepped on the boat.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
You look back and like you're not coming.
Yeah. You do this, and you do honestly get a slightly unsettling feeling, and it's not Virik, coming from the underside of the boat.
I step off the boat.
Seeing that, I am also gonna like kind of look at her and be like, "Are you buying into the curse situation, or was that a more of a magical buying into the curse situation?"
Well, I understand where he's coming from with the curse, and it is reasonable, more than you might think. But there is definitely dark energy below the ship.
Oh, Burrow is going to step off the boat and just say, underneath.
Yes, or from the bottom. It might be on the inside. I can't really tell.
Like you guys step off, and the guy who was like kind of led you on just kind of like adjusts the crossbow slightly and is like, "Are you coming or not?"
There's evil energies in the bottom of your ship that I'm just trying to investigate.
Just straight up. Like...
Wow. Yep. And as you say that, Eric's like, okay, just slowly walk up. I'm just like, oh, I don't want to get shot.
This has done nothing but confirm Tobias's bias. It's just like, I told you. And just looking at him, he's like, "What? The stories are true. You are cursed."
I'm gonna just put my hand on Tobias's shoulder and say, probably not best to say that to someone. I'm sure he doesn't.
You
cursed and
fucking shit peddlers have no permission to search this vessel.
well, we wouldn't actually like to search the vessel. We'd like to search underneath the vessel, if that's all right.
No permission.
Well, it's the ocean, so you don't really have control over the ocean, do you?
I have control of where I aim my crossbow on people trying to get under our boat.
Lovely. Well,
We have precious cargo that must be protected from brigands and marauders like your people. Kind of motioning like to the town behind you.
At this point, Tobias is getting a little worked up, and he just kind of like rolls up his sleeves. He's like, "Why don't you step off your damn fucking first boat, and I'll show you how much of a marauder I am."
okay, excuse me. Sorry. Let's have more of a civilized chat rather than the chat that's proposed by my friend here.
He's a demon.
Okay. Eleanor, would you mind just cupping his mouth for me and keeping him quiet for a minute?
I don't cut your mouth. I don't put my hands on you. I'm just gonna. It's okay. Just relax.
Like take a few steps back.
I don't
People
buy into all this.
who are cursed can't help it.
All right.
Hearing that, Virg's gonna actually no. Can I still talk to the captain? Is that still an option? I don't buy into that. He's gonna start walking up the thing again.
And Burrow's gonna actually follow as well and say, "I'm in all likelihood from further east than you, unless you come from across the sea. So I'm happy to come and chat."
When
as
you,
well.
you like come up closer to like where the light is up here, and he sees that you're both elves, although of course Virik is
still
an elf,
strange.
but not is like covered. He's like, huh, okay, and kind of like at this time. Like I said, the captain is standing, especially because now you've been yelling out there. The captain is wearing this very, very smart uniform that almost pushes on high elven level of smartness and neatness, right? It is literally a naval uniform. I mean, the people around here don't have anything. Even the royal guard of the Baroness do not have a uniform. Some of them just wear a slightly purplish tartan pattern. He's just sort of standing there. He actually checks a timekeeper on his wrist that none of you would have seen anything like that before. Aside from maybe Virik, actually. And kind of sighs slightly. And kind of, as often is the case, looks at the person in the mask, looks at Barut, starts talking to Barut. And goes,
This is gonna be a
This is our routine. This is how we do things. It's our
My
body mind
name
situation.
is Captain Galstolt. What is it that has sparked your curiosity about our vessel?
Well, actually not your vessel in particular. We believe there's actually something underneath your vessel. Our friend down there actually sensed something with her notions of divine energy that she was able to
If she can
uncover.
sense the divine, she most likely sensed our cargo. It is blessed from our homeland.
Oh, okay. Well, then in that case, we of course don't want to trouble you, and as your compatriot here said, your cargo is precious and not to be searched by brigands, as he stated. And of course, I respect that. It's not something that we've come here to do. We're actually here investigating ships that have gone missing, crashed in on the shore in splinters, as it were. People are going missing from the town. I know that your people don't seem to have too much love for the town here, but it is a resting point for you.
It is a valuable port. I would have a great deal of affection for this quaint little town if the people were more pleasant.
It's often the way, but
I am
they-
sorry to hear that people are going missing. Perhaps if they invested in higher quality shipcraft, maybe this would not be the case.
I will admit this is the nicest ship I've seen in this dock while I've been here.
It is
Now-
not a hard contest to win.
So can't believe this is a ship.
He's,
He gives Virik a very strange look.
I just
He's-
never seen one this big. That's all.
He's new. He's new to the water. As I mentioned to your compatriot here, I'm from a little bit further east than I believe even you might be, though I'm actually not sure. But I've traveled for a long time on ships. I've seen many ships, and this is a very nice one. Now, of course, I don't want to disturb you or your cargo for that matter, or your compatriot who was unfortunately my companions were not exactly the kindest to him, so I must apologize on their behalf for their behavior. They are of this well, Tobias is of this town at the very least, but they are of the north, and I don't know
I
much
understand their beliefs. I understand. Not everyone is enlightened enough to worship the Moon Queen and bathe in the peace and safety that she provides.
Well, again, I must apologize for their behavior. But, that being said, I would like to ask, have you seen anything strange on the waters? Anything that might be causing the shipwrecks? Anything at all that you might be able to help point us in the right direction? It's very much our jobs to ensure the safety of people, and that's what we are aiming to do.
Please give me a persuasion roll.
I wish I'd said something to help. I'd meant to say something.
Virik,
There was
give me a
one
perception
point.
roll.
Oh, I'll do that.
It's a good persuasion.
Hey.
Virik, while they're talking, you're looking around, because that's what you do.
Yeah.
And you can see much clearer in the dark and the gloom and the flickering firelight here. And most of the ship isn't lit. And you actually look down below, because it's a ship. Even a well-crafted ship, you can sometimes see through some of the wooden panels. They've got sort of a metal grate that would separate the cargo area. And you actually look inside. Down below in the cargo area, someone is actually closing a box that appears to be full of shimmering blue gems.
Okay.
That's all you really see before that box is closed and like nailed shut.
Yep.
But of course, that would take your
Oh,
fancy.
yes.
The Captain Galstolt sort of rubs at his face, which is beardless. I mean, you don't know the last time you've seen a male human without a beard.
Been a while.
And thinks for a short time. I will say that the seas have been quite unpleasant, and I have seen. We have a spotter in the spyglass who occasionally keeps check, and there was a little bit of disturbance in a cavern somewhat to the south.
Cavern.
Hard to tell what it was. Maybe it was one or two of these ships going missing. It's misty. It's misty on the shores, especially in the mornings. But there was definitely motion. If some evil is afoot, definitely not some curse. But if there is some evil, then perhaps that would be the nest of some sort of harpy or creature of the sea. I cannot tell you.
I don't know much about the curse, but from what Tobias was shouting, I believe it has to do with being on the water, coming from the east, maybe. Regardless, if you are cursed, then I am far more cursed than you. So I don't really have any reason to believe in a curse. So
Glad you are a man of science. Good.
Well,
What was
thank
your
you.
name again?
My name is Burwood.
He will actually take a very small little notepad and write that down with a pen.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm gonna.
Virik. And then go back to looking around.
And he'll write it down as well.
Is that? Oh, That's
Oh yes, you do not have those, especially in this part of the world.
I pull out from my bag my notebook, my really, really nice notebook with I have an ink pen that I picked up in my travels, and I'm going to say, yours looks, it's very similar to the design that I have, but I picked mine up a long while ago. Where did you buy yours, or where did you find yours, or procure yours?
Oh, a small little calligraphy shop on the shores of Raven's Harbor.
I will have to make travel there at some
Oh,
point.
considering you are a man of intellect, you would very much fit in Velheim, and kind of gives you a look. And you're used to this, Barut, because to someone who understands elves, you are clearly not a wood elf or a high elf.
No.
And he's clearly doing that look of trying to work out what you are. And you're like, elves are, of course, welcome. In the Velheim, it is blessed by the Moon Queen and those who serve the moon.
Excellent. Well, I will definitely have to make travel there in the future. I am very excited to see that these actually have a location to be found somewhere. I haven't been able to find one since I purchased this one. So I'm looking forward to that eventually. And I'm going to stow my stuff back away.
Yeah.
And
Your little bit of nerd excitement fades away.
very, very excited. Oh. and just thank him again. And then motion to Virik that we're done here and we're going to get off the
yep. Thank you. And follow.
You can hear that clearly the two of them, the two Raven Lords talk for a short amount of time. I mean, first of all, their culture's called the Raven Lords. Like, that's very pretentious. Second of all,
That's cool.
you clearly hear them talking. I mean, you two would have easily heard pretty much all of that conversation. Sure, the docs are loud, but you would have easily heard all of it when they come back to you.
When you guys are coming off the boat, Tobias is just muttering something about black feathered bastards. Bro, it's just trying to leave. I'm
pat
gonna,
you on the shoulder and like lead you away.
Yeah.
as we go to leave, I'm gonna very purposefully and loudly spit on his ship and then walk away.
Wow.
Bro, it's just immediately hand on face. Just
Oh, that's
shake
so good.
head and just and I'm gonna turn to Tobias and say, you know that I traveled for a very long time on a ship, don't you?
Yeah, people travel on ships every day, but you don't go out into the forbidden waters beyond the north. I assume you're not cursed, so obviously.
It's a specific location that you refer to for the curse, because I've crossed a very large sea to come here. But it's only one water that's cursed, even though they're all connected?
Just so I understand this correctly, with it, what exactly is the belief here?
It's more or less if you get a certain amount out to sea, you're cursed, or you're just gonna die. So yeah, definitely crossing that sea. But no, it's also entirely logical to be like, no, it's just the North Water. Like that also could be like that could be the way you see it, and I think that's even better actually.
Yeah, that's what I had originally.
Yeah,
thought.
I
So,
like
yeah,
that a lot.
Okay.
I'll explain that. Be like, you travel north, it gets cold. You travel when it gets colder. You keep going beyond that point. You don't come back, and if you do, you're not human anymore. There's something wrong with you. Not to say there's something wrong with you if you're not human, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
Okay.
I don't use fancy words like you. You understand what I'm.
I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt on that one. I know you don't have as many elves around here, and also I'm not exactly a normal elf anyways, so don't worry, I don't take that much offense to it. But also, just so I'm clear, you don't believe I'm cursed?
No, if you were cursed, we wouldn't be friends.
Great. Well, I'm glad we're friends. And I'm just going to pat you on the shoulder again and just keep walking.
And you get the impression it's not so much Tobias is saying he wouldn't be friends with you if you were cursed, but that it is
No.
impossible that you would be friends and be cursed.
Bruin's still wrapping his head around that. I think
There's a lot
really
of clauses and stipulations in the rules of are you cursed or not.
Like the
I'm
super
trying to
arbitrary
patch
rules.
together my understanding of what this curse is and why it's the North Sea only, even though they're all connected. And just like, is it a location there that's like a cursed area, or like, all these things I'm trying to figure out.
I can tell you more stories about the spirits if you would like.
Absolutely. Please.
But for now, I think we should plan our next course of action, which maybe should be in the morning to board one of the fishermen's vessels.
Maybe. Ollie, can I just check with the blue shimmering gems? Were they just blue gems that were like very pretty, or was there actually sort of magic about them almost? Something off about them.
Hard to tell, but they caught your eye very.
Okay, then I would bring them up. I would actually turn to Eleanor. So they had like boxes of these blue, very shiny gems, and like they had them in their hold. Is this what could be causing that what you felt thing? They said it was blessed or something?
It's entirely possible. It was towards the bottom of the ship. It didn't have to be under. It could have been inside.
Okay. How big was the box that I saw?
They did say it was a divine treasure to them, so it could have been radiating some spiritual energy.
And of course, that some people worship false gods. Varric, it wasn't the largest box ever, but there were more boxes.
Yeah, that's all. That's what I was picturing.
It would be like a box you could like a big box you could carry, but there were at least several others in there. You just saw that one being like opened and closed.
Whether or not it's related to our missing fisherman, I think we should assume not for now.
No, but it's good to know.
Or into it later.
Varric's cursing the fact that it was below a deck and more people are around.
I was wondering why you were so silent while I was talking. I thought you might have interjected at some point, but especially
Got a little distracted.
I've gathered that now. Yes. Well, honestly, I'm glad you did see what you saw. It gives us information for later, whether or not that's something that we need now. So he said the disturbance was in a cavern to the south in the sea, so I don't know that a fisher's boat would be willing to go there if that's where we think the fishermen's ships.
Wasn't it fishing boats that were going missing, Ollie?
There's really only fishing boats that live here, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's more explicitly the fishermen, or the people fishing.
How suspicious.
The
fishing boats of my people are going missing, but these cursed bastards are hanging out in the harbor with no trouble coming their way.
Did you see how big that ship is?
Compared
it's huge.
To fishing boats here. I don't really understand the whole curse, but as someone who is willing to accept all possibilities, I would appreciate it if you at least accepted the possibility that the reason they're fine is because their ship is large and can handle the waves better and can handle the oils of the sea better, because that's what it's designed for.
It also looks like that ship has been docked for a little while. Yeah. Maybe hasn't gone to... And if they were going to... You didn't hear, but they probably weren't going to go and then come back. So they've probably been docked for a little while and just haven't left as well.
So?
I think, if a fisher is willing to take us, then I think that's the best plan. If not, well, perhaps we'll have to try and captain a ship on our own. Oh, won't that be a nightmare? No, I think it's best if we get someone to do it for us who knows what they're doing.
So, let's come back in the morning.
Agreed.
Sounds like a good idea.
And on the way back, I will tell Baru a little more about Ing, the Kraken spirit.
Awesome.
And I am taking notes with that ink pen.
Exactly. And the nice thing about all these northern spirit gods is that they have like a lot of stories related to them, and one of the main beliefs is that a lot of faiths have an end times belief, and Ing is the one that's going to bring the end times with all the spirits of all the people that went too far.
The feeling you get from Eleanor is less that the spirit is evil, more just like a force of nature.
Yeah,
in and of itself.
For sure. And Brute, give me a history roll.
Nope.
So you go to bed.
Yep.
And the plan is next morning to try and find a fisherman who won't hate the idea of you joining.
I would want to pick up the goggles before that. If
Yeah, you could easily pick up the goggles before then. They fit under your mask quite neatly, and they're sunglasses. They are sunglasses. They protect your eyes from the sun.
Wait. It hasn't been 4 days yet, right?
No.
It's been like a day.
It's been a day.
Okay, cool. Just making sure I'm keeping track of time properly. Thank you.
So you're going back to the docks and try and find a fisherman that doesn't hate that idea. Go ahead and give me persuasion rolls, because you got to do a whole lot of talking. Try and find that individual.
Are we all doing it?
Anyone who would try.
You know what? We're just gonna let Eleanor do this.
Oh, she's done. Yep.
Eleanor
Here
knows
goes
people.
Nope, never mind.
Eleanor goes up to like an old open fur refugee. He's like, "Oh, I remember you fighting. Yeah, no, you want to try and... No, my ship's not going to go missing, but if you think that, I could fight alongside you and that sort of thing, and it will allow you on his little fishing boat that is really kind of at a stretch fitting you all on there.
I
take up much
imagine
space.
very much less comfortable on this one. Like the other one, it was stable. It was big, but it was felt sturdy. This one was...
This
I'll
does
ask
not
them
feel safe.
if they've known anyone who's gone missing either, or if they're familiar with the missing ships.
Oh, yeah, I mean, not by name or anything, but they people are dropping like fly. I mean, at least a ship a day at the moment for the last...
How long has this been going on?
couple of days.
Hmm.
4? The one above 3.
Well, hopefully we can help.
And when you all get comfortable on the little boat, he'll push off and be like, "I expect you to help row," and you do. And this is a perfect place for another little break. The Brutes rowing. It's the Brute and Eleanor. That does kind of make sense, actually.
Yeah.
All right.
We're just as low in the boat as possible.
Yeah, and Tobias uses a bow, so it makes sense for him not to row if trouble's involved. All right, we'll be back.
Oar is an improvised weapon.
It is.
What is it? Yes.
We'll come back in a couple of minutes.